Okay, so we have the last presentation that, again, is connected to the last activity of Set for Inclusion project. And it involves many authors. So I will present what it is about, and then I will invite 5 other presenters to explain a little bit about the good practices. So maybe if I can start with my slides. Those are the last slides. Number 18, I think. Under name of Daria. Okay, great, we have them. So the title of this paper, which is a collection really of efforts from many people, is Good Practices in Creating an Inclusive Environment in Education Institution, and is meant as the last piece in the puzzle of this pipeline that was presented before. So a user can use the self-evaluation tool, gets a report, is directed to several learning micro learning units, and provided with some material that was generated within each micro learning unit. Additionally, they can be invited to read about a good practice that was developed all over Europe, really, but within the partner countries. And all the people that contributed to these good practices are listed as co-authors, but more of them contributed. Of course, not only could be put on this slide. So I thank to all of them, and I will present now what this idea is. So we wanted feedback from experts in different fields that deal with inclusion, with digital inclusion, regardless really whether this inclusion is in kindergarten or in adult education. So we were interested in all good practices. So we created a call this year, spring, within the project. A call for good practice was promoted by our partner universities, trying to get experts to give us some expertise in this field. We tried to really disseminate this idea among our colleagues, but others as well. It was really a snowball collection of potential authors. And we gained 15 good practices from various countries, which is a lot. They are very detailed, and all of them are actually available online on our platform that was presented. But we always want to choose a few that stand out, that we could present, maybe really point out the motivation behind it. Therefore, we chose 5 of them, 1 from each partner country, and those will be presented today. Now, how we did that, we evaluated all of them. We had a workshop, an online workshop, where we discussed the potential benefits of each good practice, how well they could be integrated in higher education institutions, and how well they are aligned really with our goals. We evaluated each one of them with help of a survey. We kind of compartmentalized each one of them and categorized them within our framework. As you saw, 8 categories were defined. We also tried to categorize those good practice in one or more of our framework, really. And these are the results. So out of 15, 5 of them were chosen like the best ones. They were really brought a specific good practice, addressed several categories from our framework. Most of them, if you look from the results in the right table, dealt about pedagogy supports and resources. 86% were sort of connected to this area. Many also to leadership and schools perspective, then students perspective, continuous professional development, infrastructure and equipment. The good practices that were least supported, and this is like, in my opinion, potential for future work, were regarding assessment and collaboration and networking. Okay. So those 5 good practices are now listed, and I will invite the authors of each good practice. They are not listed according to relevance, but so no one feels excluded. They are more the way from the chronologically, like ones are started in kindergarten environment and others are in let's say learning environment for adults. So we try to really climb this age levels. So I will invite first good practice author, José Carlos Neves from Lusófona from Portugal. He and his collaborators is responsible for the good practice called Inclusive Glossary of Mathematical Terms, a hybrid pedagogical tool for the inclusive education of deaf and hearing children. So hopefully he's here. Great. I don't think we can hear him. Just a minute.
But
okay, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, just the slides. Do we share the slides?
It would be nice. Yes, that would be helpful.
Can I share? Okay.
You want me to share my slide?
No. We will share them, and you just tell me when to move on. Okay, so
we just have one, right?
Okay, yeah. So please.
You can have that slide there. So as you see there, as you said quite correctly, I will be very brief on this. So the team is very multidisciplinary, but you have me and Carlos as the main responsibles of the tool, but was huge, but not, I would say small, but multidisciplinary team, very important for this work. So what we are dealing with? So we are dealing with a tool that want to be inclusive for deaf and hearing children, where you have the main topics. And I will not annoy you with those main topics. I will explain you the tool, how the tool works. So the tool itself, it's game. Okay, it's a game based on a traditional memory card game with 2 main topics. One topic are the drawing of numbers from 0 to 9, and the other one is the basic concepts of position. So over, behind, below, these kind of concepts. So I will focus on that part of the concept of position in this brief explanation. So we will have, as I said, 2 sets of cards. Okay, one for the numbers, one for these concepts, and focus on the concepts. As a traditional game card, you will have 2 cards. In this case, the cards are not the same. For example, where you're dealing with above concept, we'll have a cat. In one card, you have the cat, and the other card will have the cat over a sofa. So these are these 2 cards. While you can discover them as a traditional card game, memory card game. But these cards have a QR code that can work or with an application, a mobile application done for this purpose, or with an interface, physical interface that you see more or less on the image, built for this purpose. This is an interface that you can build with traditional FabLab technologies, and you have the instructions and material necessary online. So when this card game as a storyline. The storyline is very simple. It's animals that are playing hide and seek on the house. So when you use one of the cards and you put on the interface, you'll have an animation, and again with the cat, you will see an image of a living room where you see a sofa and you see a round shape over the sofa. So we'll have this animation will zoom in, and while being zoomed in, you see the cat coming up from this shape, this flag shape. So the cat in this case, of course, is over the sofa. The other card will be the glossary card. The glossary card will have the sign language, will have written language, and of course will have images of the game, of the animation. So in this case, again, of the cat, it will have the word cat and the image of the cat, and also the sign language of the cat, and you'll have the sofa, and you'll have the above concept, and you have the complete senses. The cat is above the sofa. So explaining very fast, this is our tool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your short presentation. It is from the kindergarten environment. However, some aspects, the gaming aspects, would definitely could be applicable in higher education institutions as well. So I thank you, and we continue with the next good practice. Again, we need to. We have. Okay. The Inclusive Working Group at Faculty of Business, University of Huelva, presenting us their good practices, and will be presented by Isabel. So please.
Thank you, Maya. Yes, I'm talking on behalf of Alfonso Infante Moro, Professor Alfonso Infante Moro, who has prepared this presentation and is in charge of this good practice. So the University of Huelva Faculty of Business has addressed needs representing the network of support services for the people with disabilities in this institution. A dedicated working group led by Alfonso Infante, Professor Alfonso Infante, who, by the way, cannot be here today online either because he's in Colombia, so because of the time, it's very difficult, so he let me present on behalf of. So the work is being done on the standards guide for the inclusion of university students with disabilities that will favor the transition, access and reception of students with disabilities in the university environment in the face of the digital era. So in inclusion areas that this working group is concerning to is collaboration and networking, continuous professional development, student digital competence, students' perspective, leadership, and schools' perspective. So, and overall about this working group, Alfonso Infante Moro is the head of this promotion of the special needs technical unit that has prepared this model that is implemented by the University of Huelva in the Faculty of Business at the beginning, but is extended to other faculties from 2021. So that was the first time, and now we are in 2024. So now it's extended to other faculties. The first time was at the International Congress of University and Disability held in Salamanca, the north of Spain. Remains in force until the present. An important part of this access to digital materials from the faculty library as personalized support according to the student needs. So this is the first step. As I said, is coming to nowadays. So the next time that he will present in another conference, probably we can say not just Faculty of Business, other faculties too. And that's all. Thank you.
Sure, you can have it. So good practice, really creating a unit that deals with the inclusion issues. Okay, the third good practice comes from Italy. provided by Silvia Doratiotto. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that well. The title of the good practice is EcoDigi, a practice for sustainable digital transformation in adult education. Do we have Silvia with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Can you
great.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. The slides are shared, I think. Yes, I can't see them. I will move to the slide. Okay, here. And you just tell me when you need me to change the next slide.
Okay, perfect. This slide is perfect. I will be very quickly. I know that we are running of time. So thank you very much. I will talk you about this project, EcoDigi. I started to work on it as Istituto, but its results I started also to apply it in the University of Turin framework with my deaf students, as I work also as a communication assistant with them. As you can see, a self-assessment tool has been created. We talk a lot about self-assessment tool today. The main aim is just to do a checklist if in the daily life we maintain a good practice, if we can improve them, and if we lack of accessibility, and also from an ecological point of view, because digital transformation should be supported also to an ecological point of view. After you fulfill the self-assessment tool, you receive a feedback in a PDF format. So you can have all the answer, or you can go in deep with information with more resource, link, articles, or what you prefer. And subsequently, an online platform and database has been created. It's a database of 100, if I remember correctly, of tools, good practice, lesson plan, and report on how in your teaching methods you can be ecological and accessible in many points of view. For example, I found a lot of good exercise that I could apply with my deaf student. So in a digital format, sometimes I could also print the materials, but it was totally accessible. And then there has been the training with a lot of educators and teachers, and we created guidelines, practical guidelines, because we thought in the end it's very good to create a practical manual that a teacher can use in the daily life with their students. Practical example, exercise, but also if I want to go deep again with the content, I have a right explanation and the correlation to the framework and the theory I'm taking a note. So these were the main results, and I applied all of them in my work as a communication assistant. You can go to the next slide, please. Okay, and so these results have been implemented in this framework. The aim to increase the environmental awareness, to promote the inclusion with people with special needs, and how to improve the awareness about sustainability in inclusive adult education. With the database, we also implemented an exchange of good practice, because we have been looking at practice among all the Europe. So from Poland, or Belgium, or Spain. And about the pool of skilled trainers is because in the end there was an LTTA where a lot of people were involved, and also this implemented the exchange of good practice. And I think it's all. I hope I've been clear. If there are any questions, I am available. Thank you.
Out of time. Okay, we continue with the almost last good practice, innovative XR Technologies Research and Development Center from the partners from Turkey. So, give the floor.
Hello again. As it writes here, we are coming from Istanbul University Cerrahpaşa. I will be very fast. That we have a one center there, which is Innovative XR Technologies Research and Development Center. Especially we focus on the VR technologies, but not just VR, augmented realities. This is our center, where you can see the photos. In this labs, we can create VR applications for any kind of subjects, especially nowadays in my areas, is special needs education. So we create a VR application for these students as well. And here the students can get experience of VR in a spatial environment and in spatial atmosphere. With this center, as I said, we didn't create just send students applications, VR applications. We have different kind of application as well. As we are health universities, we focus on the health. We have a VR laboratories about teaching students health, especially on these pandemic times. First aid VR and factory VR that is already created, and it's used by participants, by the students right now. And another topic is the satiency, that it is created from the different department of university, which is in education faculty. And another application right now that we are using, it is scuba diving VR. It is VR application that's used by this department who are learning how to diving into the sea. As you know, the advantages of VR is the provide the students to not going to the sea or to the, how can I say, any places that they can dive. They can have this experience in just the classroom. And of course, we have different project that is continued as well right now. As we don't have too much time, that I'm not going to talk about it. But generally, we focus on the creating VR application that it is used on education. And all the application that we create, it is used right now by the teachers. Last point, this center is not just for creating application on education. We already give education also to students, to who is study in our university, or we have some lectures for the student who doesn't have a chance to study in our university. So this center is specially created for such kind of events. Thank you to pay attention.
A question. Okay.
Thank you. It was really interesting, the project about virtual reality.
Yeah.
How many projects did you make, especially for disabled person? What did you think during your design of virtual reality?
Now we have one project that is completed that teach the student some mathematics subject. Of course, it's not the same topic as the teaching the normal students. We teach that students as a topic which is less and much. This is one of mathematics for them, or what is big or small. So this is already created and tested, and we get result and analyze it. Right now we have a few more projects about this, which can teach some basic concept to the students. For example, how to wash their hands, how to wearing socks, or how to brush teeth. And another project, which is Erasmus project as well, its name is VRSAN, that will focus on the mentally handicapped students' physical problems, how to use such kind of technologies. So we have a few more projects. It's still continues, still going on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the last good practice was provided by University of Maribor within another Erasmus Plus project, which already closed. It's called INTUX, Introducing Training on User Testing with People with Disabilities into UX Design and Related Higher Education Program. Here is a possibility to download all the outcomes that were connected to this project. However, I would like to point out the main, let's say, result and a good practice, which I believe is the connection to the industry, to what customers and the market really needs. Among other things, we did a survey of what does a customer case study really, what does the market expect or need from the students that we provide during the education system. And simultaneously, we checked what do we actually provide, what is the knowledge that our students come out with. And there's a gap, of course, there's an identified gap, which we tried to lessen or kind of cover with different activities, different approaches. One of those from this project were training courses and handbook for trainers. So really a material, with other words, that can be used by higher education institutions to implement in their existing study programs, advancing the knowledge of their students to really meet the needs of the market in 2024, really, to adapt to the changing times and create students with better knowledge for their future careers. Okay, so this is the last good practice. As we still have a little bit of time, if I understand correctly, I think you can ask other participants questions. I rushed before. I have a question. Yeah.
There's 3 questions or 4, I think, on Zoom.
Great.
So the first one is set for inclusion website tool and materials on it conformant to EN 301549 or at least WCAG 2.1 on levels A and AA.
Okay, this question is not connected to these good practices, I guess, but the project results overall. This is definitely one of the goals before the project ends, that all the standards will be addressed. There are, correct me if I'm wrong, Isabel and Marta, I think there still are some issues that need to be resolved. But it's not forgotten, definitely this issue will be addressed, yes.
Okay, so the next one is, how is artificial reality accessible to blind people?
Maybe that's a question for the Turkish partners. And a microphone.
Nowadays, in our center, we mostly focus on VRs, but I don't know if we have some project about this. No, not yet. In our center and in our university, we mostly focus on VR technologies and augmented realities technologies nowadays, but not AI, unfortunately. But we can search about it also, and it will be one of nice project also. Thank you.
Maybe to comment, we have another project, as this one is coming to an end, or there's always new project, and the use of artificial intelligence is really addressed in this new project. It's called AI Enable. I think already there's, I know there's a website with the main goals. I think the interesting candidates are welcome to check out this website or just email us and we will guide them to the further activities which do include AI into the education system, yes.
Okay, so the next one, how many people with disabilities were participating in INTUX and with which disabilities? Okay, I don't know the numbers. We always included SEND students. In the Sit for Inclusion, a little bit, there are more than 10 in each activity, workshop, survey, and so on. While in INTUX, to directly answer the question, there were much more. I don't have exact numbers. Again, there were also workshops in all partner countries. I know for our workshops and activities, we typically had around 15 people with disabilities. This was conducted with cooperation with NCOs. I think most of them were
most common disability was a wheelchair. So the users had wheelchairs. We had hearing impairment and visual impairment as well. Those three were the main. We collaborated with Toriba University, and their helping organization was Sustento, if you are familiar with them. I think they have mostly cognitive issues, but again, I would have to check. And the third partner was Spain, Madrid, and their helping organization was Sevilla Autismo, which were included autistic users. So those are the, let's say, 4 groups that were really covered. We did, however, realize that many were not included. And one of the biggest realization was that whatever we try to change, extend, accommodate, we can never address all disabilities. And this is like an issue that still needs to be addressed. It was really hard to really include solutions for everyone. So inclusion here, for example, remains a challenge.
Okay, so the same person now asked a following question, which is Intux including deaf-blind people, and are there any other disabilities that are not part of WCAG?
Deaf and blind people, you think? Or
It says deaf-blind people, so I'm not
so
sure.
there were deaf people involved, and they were not completely blind people, but with really strong impairment. If the ending of the question?
And are there any other disabilities that are not part of WCAG?
Stian, help me out with that. I know there were disabilities that were not, so people with disabilities which were not included in the research. I'm sure they are, but I would really have to get back to you with this question. Ideally, you could write me an email and I will resend this question to our partners from that project.
Okay, so the last question is, can virtual reality be accessible to the deaf-blind?
Hussein, have an answer for that?
For deaf, yeah, because it's virtual, so they can see something and they can read from the screen as well. Whenever you put the glasses, you see yourself in a virtual world. So it's definitely can be used and it's okay. For the blind, yeah, maybe.
We've been working a lot on this, but I think it's still very early, given that the creation of virtual reality technologies is still very expensive. So my vision is if we have artificial intelligence coming into play and creation of virtual reality environments becomes easier and cheaper, then we will have more opportunities for the SEN and blind and deaf kids and also people. For now, the only thing is the affordances of virtual reality is, as we all know, the vision, the audio as well, which is very immersive. But in the other case, in the case of blind people, as long as they have the ability to hear, then there will be, of course, some affordances for them as well. But like I said, it's still very early, I guess. There is some investment going into VR development, but and this is a project that we got from the government, actually, our university, 3 million Turkish liras, and right now we have the infrastructure to create more, but like I said, we need more to work more on these, to bring it to SEN and disability people. So I think this is the answer for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe I invite you to use this QR code that you see for the past 5 minutes to share some feedback on the project by completing a very short survey. It's going to be a minute survey, so thank you about that. No more time for question, Professor De Bouts? No, okay, sorry. For any other question, please use the emails, and I think Professor De Bouts is going to close up the conference.